Anxiety, an emotion characterized by feelings of tension, worried thoughts, and physical changes like rapid heartbeat. It is your body's fight or flight response to stress, preparing you to face a perceived threat. Depression, a common and serious disorder that causes persistent sadness, helplessness, and loss of interest. It goes beyond temporary sadness. It affects how you think, feel, and handle daily feelings. Welcome to Trough Creek State Park. Today marks Chapter 9 in our 25 State Park Challenge. If you haven't guessed by the title of this video, today you're going to hear my full mental health struggle. I've never touched on the full story, just bits and pieces. So sit back, relax, and get ready for a story. It all started when I was in junior high, 14, 15 years old. I had been held back in second grade, therefore it made me about a year older than all the rest of the kids that I was in school with. Had tons of girlfriends, had tons of friends, I played sports. But my parents had noticed some kind of change in me emotionally. I wasn't interested in doing things. I'd go isolate myself in my room. And I'll talk more about that later. After they had noticed that, they figured they'd better get me into the doctor and do some checkups. They did some blood work, but one of the main things that I remember doing is taking a paper test. I know, you're thinking, doctor's office? Why the heck are you taking a paper test? Well, we're getting to that. I don't remember many of the questions, except for the very last one on this test. It was more like a survey to see where my emotions were at. The very last question was, do you ever feel like crying for absolutely no reason? Answers were yes or no. I selected yes. I had to be truthful. My parents wanted to figure out what's going on, and I wanted to figure out what's going on. Well, I think y'all know where this is heading. The doctor told me that all those feelings definitely weren't normal, and I knew that. If you haven't guessed by now, yep, I was a major candidate for depression. All I really wanted was a little peace in life. Hey, how about that? Even now, at 42 years old, my brain gears spin and spin and spin. Sometimes there's no way of stopping it. Thankfully, I have found a medication that helps me. Now, mind you, medication is not for everybody. One medication that works for you might not work for another person. Be very aware. Medication works differently on every body because every body is different. Now, when I come home from school, I'd go straight to my bedroom. I'd go upstairs, in my room. I would lay there, stare at the ceiling. Do you notice a pattern here? I would look out the window. I would try to read a comic, and I love reading comics. I just had absolutely no interest in it. I didn't eat. I lost weight. It's not fun. It was really like I was on autopilot. The lights are on, no one's home, the world is functioning, and I'm just sitting there while everything happens. Kind of like in the movies when you see one of those scenes of somebody sitting still and the world just functioning around them. That's honestly the way I felt. Now, skipping ahead a few years, I had thoughts about self-harm. This was mainly in my early 20s, but there was one instance around that 15, 16-year-old marker, if I remember correctly. There were 4 specific cases. One of them involved pills. I had swallowed a bunch. I had found out a girl I was in a relationship with, whom I thought I loved, was out all night with someone. There was another time where I did things to my body with a sharp knife. No stabbing, just slicing. And there was another time, actually 2 more times, the final 2 times involved a gun. And obviously, final does not mean the end for me, because hey, I wouldn't be here talking to you. And trust me, I am extremely thankful that nothing has happened. So some forms of self-harm, or life ending, I should say, that I often thought about was when I started to drive. I'd drive my car off a bridge, drive my car into a tree, or drive myself into a ditch, maybe off a cliff. These are things that I thought about that I'm super happy that all have since passed. Now that I'm older, I look back on it, and I just find it absolutely silly. I was looking for something. I was looking for attention. I was afraid to do it. I was definitely a coward. There is something else that actually has played a significant amount of hell on my mental health. Back in my early 30s, I went to visit a urologist, and I found out I had varicocele. Now, most people don't know what that is. Let me kind of explain it to you without going into much detail. It's an enlargement of the veins down in a man's genitalia. It's similar to varicose veins you find in the legs. That has been a major culprit in me not having any children. If you're curious what it is, I urge you to please actually go look it up. Truth be told, I always wanted a little girl. Although I know we can't choose what we have, so I would have been happy either way. Jumping way further ahead in time, 2021 to be exact, it was New Year's Eve. I lay on my kitchen floor for minutes, and it really did seem like hours. I stared so long, I formed faces out of the ceiling's paint designs. It was then I made a promise to myself. That decision, the one I should have made a long time ago. I need to put myself first. I needed to teach myself that I matter to myself. Nobody's going to be there for me 100% of the time except for me. I needed to be happy. With the power of some good friends and the best family a guy could ask for, I made it through. By late 2022, I set foot on my first hiking trail. Nothing long or even hard. I just remember the feeling I had. I could breathe. I felt free. I was calm, and I lived in the moment. I had, finally, found a way to slow the brain gears down and live in the now. If I had done any of those things to harm myself, I wouldn't be here right now staring at this massive rock that looks like it's about to fall. I would not have gone on as many adventures as I have. I would not have met all the beautiful, amazingly creative friends that I now have. I would have not got to see or meet my niece and nephew. I would have not gotten to meet my best friend. I would have not gotten to meet Miss Mindy. I just would not have been able to see all the beautiful things that life has to offer because I decided to clock out early and quit. I want every single person out there to know, and I know I've said this before, it is not okay to clock out early. You are loved, you are cherished. If there was any advice I had to give, it would be make that decision like I did. Put yourself first. Get outside, self-reflect, breathe in the fresh air, roast under the sun on a hiking trail like I currently am. Hike to that waterfall, hike to that vista, hike to see some old remains of a building, learn some history. If you don't have friends that'll go by yourself, because if you wait for other people, you're going to be waiting a long time, and chances are you didn't go. Nature has a way of slowing life down, getting you healthy, and just sometimes being a little silly. Nature doesn't judge you. You can be yourself 100% out in the bush. I mean, look at me right here. Is it scary sometimes going into an unknown place alone? Absolutely, but you have to conquer that fear. Remember, you matter and you have a purpose. Thank you all for watching.